Welcome, beautiful royal family, to another episode of TRF News. I am your brother, Mike Maliss. And family, I'm going to tell y'all right now, tonight is going to be very intense. Again, this is one of those things that bothered me, bothered my soul, bothered my spirit. And why? Because there was something that I always thought was very, very unfair. Now, this happened back in 2006. I had no idea, none whatsoever. I had no idea why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. But all I know is that I was feeling a certain type of way when I heard this announcement that I'm getting ready to show y'all. And there was so many mixed emotions when I heard this here for the first time. So without any further ado, family, let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Please take a look at this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
All right, so for many of you, you remember that too. This came right after, well, 2 years, I can't say right after, 2 years after 9/11, September 11, 2001. This was announced in 2003. Let me tell you why this bothered me so much. First and foremost, the man that they're talking about, we got him, was not the person that America depicted and publicized as being the most evil, wicked person on the earth at that time. They were headhunting this man. They were headhunting him. And they had reward after reward after reward for the capture of this man because he was responsible for the terrorist attacks of 9/11. And that man's name was Saddam Hussein. Wait a minute. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The man's name during that time that America was saying was responsible for the attacks of 9/11 was Osama bin Laden. Family, do you all remember this? How they demonized Osama bin Laden for 2 years. They put that man in our face. And then all of a sudden, you didn't hear about him anymore. All of a sudden, that man just vanished. So they brought another man. And they reminded us of this man for something that happened back in 1989, 1990, something called the Gulf War. That was not the same country as Afghanistan, where Osama bin Laden and I guess his terrorist unit was, or at least that's what they told us. But they started reminding us about the Gulf War that happened back in 1989 and 1990 and 1991. And there was a man that they demonized at that time too. His name was Saddam Hussein. These are two different countries. You have Iraq and then you also have Afghanistan. These are two different countries, but they just went ahead and took the one that they said was responsible threw him completely out of your memory and dragged this man, Saddam Hussein, back in and said that this was the one that they were looking for. And they blamed Saddam Hussein for the attacks on 9/11 and everything else. And we just happen to know that that is a bunch of nonsense. Because I think they forgot that there were those of us who remembered the Gulf War and what that war was about. Saddam Hussein had absolutely nothing to do with 9/11, the terrorist attacks, or anything to do with Afghanistan. So just like America, whenever they get their panties in a bunch about something, whenever they decide that they want to now take somebody down because their relationship is just no longer good, what do? They start to demonize people. They made this very same attempt with Saddam Hussein. So I'm about to show y'all some footage here. And this is the footage that really bothered me. I'm going to show it in its entirety. It doesn't have any sound or anything like that. And it's, family, just please take a look at it. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember when I was watching that on television, there was something that really disturbed my spirit as I was watching that, because y'all have to understand something about Saddam Hussein and the relationship that he had with America. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But the part that I want you to understand was that Saddam Hussein indeed did have a relationship with America. He had a working relationship with America. He had a working relationship with the Bush family, with Donald Rumsfeld. They were on good terms. And you're going to find out why here tonight. But looking at that particular footage right there, right? Why were they treating him like that? They were treating this man like he was a leper, like he was disgusting. Sitting there playing with him like how they used to do. Remember, they used to do that back to us in school with the two wooden sticks, checking to see if we had lice and all that stuff. Remember, we never had lice, but all the Edomites did. But why were they doing that to Saddam Hussein? No, this is a man that they had a relationship with. Are y'all ready? I'm going to ask you the question again. Are you ready?
You know Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq. I wanted to share with you what he said before he died. There may be new videos about this in the future. See you.
بالإعدام شنقا حتى الموت لارتكاب قتل العمد كجريمة ضد الإنسانية وفق المادة 12 أولا أليف بدلالة المادة 12 أولا ثانيا ثالثا رابعا من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا رقم 10 لسنة 2005 وحددت العقوبة وفق أحكام المادة 406 أليف من قانون العقوبات رقم 111 لسنة 1969 المعدل بدلالة المادة 24 من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا رقم 10 لسنة 2005 قرارا حضوريا وبالاتفاق. ثانيا
سيادة القاضي شخص واقف هنا يعلج ويضحك يعلج ويضحك هذا الشخص يعلج
هذا
ويضحك.
نفس اللي يستفز المحامين بتطلعوا بالدفتر.
يعلج ويضحك.
يضحك ويعلج. وجهكم على هالصفحة.
هذا التقدير للمحكمة.
ثانيا الحكم على صدام حسين مجيد
نحن أهلها
بالسجن 10 سنوات لارتكاب إبعاد السكان أو النقل القسري للسكان كجريمة ضد الإنسانية وفق المادة 12 أولا دال بدلالة المادة 15 أولا ثانيا ثالثا رابعا من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا رقم 10 لسنة 2005. وحددت العقوبة استنادا لأحكام المادة 421 باب من قانون العقوبات رقم 111 لسنة 1969 المعدل بدلالة المادة 24 من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا لسنة 2005 قرارا وبالاتفاق.
كل الذين انحرفوا.
ثالثا الحكم على المدان صدام حسين المجيد بالسجن 10 سنوات لارتكابه التعذيب كجريمة ضد الإنسانية وفقا لأحكام المادة 12 أولا واو بدلالة المادة 15 أولا ثانيا ثالثا رابعا من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا رقم 10 لسنة 2005. وحددت العقوبة استنادا لأحكام المادة 333 من قانون العقوبات رقم 111 لسنة 1969 المعدل قرارا بدلالة المادة 24 من قانون المحكمة الجنائية العراقية العليا رقم 10 لسنة 2005.
الله أكبر.
رابعا تنفذ العقوبة الأشد بحق المدان استنادا لأحكام المادة 142 من قانون العقوبات رقم 111 لسنة 1969 المعدل.
I truly hope that you guys had your spiritual eyes and ears on during that whole thing. If you did, then you picked up on a lot. Do y'all now understand why they demonized that man the way that they did? Seems like Saddam Hussein knew something, didn't it? It seemed like Saddam Hussein may have had a secret. And I have told y'all so many different times. The greatest kept secret on this planet is your identity. Why is it that every time people start talking about Israel, that the world gets very tense and they get very quiet and very secretive? Why? You see, what y'all may not understand throughout that whole thing was that Saddam Hussein publicly picked up a monkey wrench and threw it into the spokes of their entire beast system. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to go through the things that Saddam Hussein said. As we go through these things, we are going to apply it to the scriptures. Because that's all Saddam Hussein was doing. Saddam Hussein was bringing out them scriptures as they were reading all of that political jargon. Did you notice the dynamic between the two, where the judge that was sitting on the bench, and I'm being very discreet about the things that I'm saying right now, and I know it sounds very elementary, and I'm doing that for a reason, because there's going to be some things that I'm going to reveal as it comes out, and I'm trying my best to hold back. But with Saddam Hussein, he was punking that judge the whole time. So family, please open your Bibles to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. And I am going to take absolute pleasure in reading all of these here, because I'm going to show you what Saddam Hussein did was probably one of the bravest things that anybody did. But I'm going to show you what he did got him killed. They murdered him. And I'm going to show you. One of the first things that Saddam Hussein said was this. He said, "Long live nation, long live Ummah." What's ummah? So ummah is a word that they use to express community. So he was saying, long live ummah. In other words, long live the community of Islam. What did he say right after that? He said, damn dogs, sold like you. Dogs. Now, that should have made your spiritual ears ring after he said that. Because we know in the scriptures, the term dogs is used by the Most High quite a bit, right? So now the first thing I want you to do, I want you to go to Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6, please. The book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. Let's read what that says. The book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. So wait a second. So Saddam Hussein is speaking these biblical terms. Why? Because Saddam Hussein was looking directly at that judge. And Saddam Hussein knew the identity of that judge. He knew it. And he called him a dog. Now, in the scriptures, a dog is referred to as what? A heathen. A heathen. So Saddam Hussein is just sitting there blasting this man, calling him a dog. He said a dog, he's a sold dog, meaning he was bought for money. About that currency, it's about that money. You sold dog. Let's go to the next one. I now want you to go to the book of Philippians chapter 3. The book of Philippians chapter 3, we're going to go down to let's start at verse 1. Watch what Saddam says. Finally, my brethren, of course, that's not Saddam. I'm saying is reading the Bible. What he said. Watch. Finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same things to you. To me, indeed, is not grievous, but for you, it is safe. Watch this. Beware of dogs. Beware of evil workers. Beware of the concision. That's the word right there, concision. The word concision means a separation. What was Saddam saying? I'm going to read it one more time. Verse 2, beware of dogs. What do you call that man? Do you call that man a dog? Beware of evil workers. You're going to see that's everything that Saddam Hussein was saying when we read this here further. Beware of the concision, the separation. What was that separation? It was the separation of them and these other people. And again, I'm being discreet until I want to make the revelation. So Saddam Hussein is talking about a relationship that has now been severed. Beware of the concision. Now, let's continue. I want you now, please, to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 11. The book of Exodus, chapter 11, and we're going to go down to verse 7. The book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 7. Let's see what this says. Watch this. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between Egyptians and Israel. That's going to mean everything here in a second. Saddam, call that man out. Saddam, call that man out. But I can't get it yet. We got to hold off. We got to hold. What did he say next? Let the traitors be devastated. Let the traitors be devastated. Let the traitors be devastated. We're going to find that out too. Saddam Hussein said so much in there. I'm surprised they didn't kill him right there on television. But we're going to get it. That man said, let the traitors be devastated. Then directly after that, he said, Allahu Akbar. And we all know what that means. It means Allah is the greatest. Why am I mentioning this here? Because first and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, that judge was sitting there spitting out all of that political jargon, all of these offenses that Saddam Hussein committed against the people of Iraq. What was Saddam's focus? What was his focus? His focus was his belief. His focus was his religion. He didn't care about any of that. Now, it just so happens that his religion focuses heavily on our biblical scriptures. I do not condone Islam at all. It is a false religion. All religions are false because the Bible has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with culture. It's an instruction manual for a chosen people, the Israelites. That's my people, our people. But Saddam Hussein kept referencing the Bible. Because even the Quran tells you, reference the Bible. Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. Then, what did he say directly after that? Who are you to judge me? Who are you to judge me? Why did he say that? Well, family, we got to go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2. The book of Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. Let's see what it says. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? Whoa! What does Saddam say? Who are you to judge me? Saddam Hussein looked at that man and said, who are you to judge me? But now, what does the Bible say? 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? Who are the saints? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Now, this is Paul talking to the Israelites. Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things pertain to this life? So Paul is making it clear, first and foremost, when it comes to the Israelites, we're the ones that's going to be judging. We'll judge. Not only are we going to judge the people on the earth, we're also going to judge the angels as well. So Saddam Hussein asked a very serious question. He said, who are you to judge me? He looked at that man and said, who are you to judge me? So let's continue saying what he says. Who are you to judge me? American dog. Now, when you look at the judge up there, right? Was that judge an American? No. Why does Saddam Hussein call that man an American dog? You see, Saddam Hussein had a problem with the American/Israeli relationship. Why are we revisiting that again in 2023? What's going on? How is it that all of these countries have an issue with the American-Israeli relationship? Why is it that Saddam Hussein had a problem with the American-Israeli relationship? Because all throughout the American-Israeli relationship, there's one common denominator where all of the other countries get mad. Do you know what that common denominator is? The two Edomite factions, the Americans and the Israelis, are the two greediest out of all the Edomites. And what happens with this is that all the other rest of the Edomites, they're like, wait a second, we're getting tired of this. Let's continue reading with this here. I want to really focus on what the Spectator said. First and foremost, I need y'all to understand, Saddam Hussein has support in that courtroom. What they told you on television as far as the Iraqi people hating Saddam Hussein and all that, you have to remember they're demonizing this man. He had a supporter right there in that courtroom. What did the Spectator say? He said, and I quote, look at me. That spectator ran. He said, look at me. He yelled it out. Look at me. Invading dogs. Invading dogs. So what was going on? That man was telling the truth. He said America was coming over there. Them and the Israelis were going over there and invading other countries and turning them to a Jewish lifestyle. And Saddam had a problem with that. So, in other words, versus saying a Jewish lifestyle, what were they doing? The very same thing that America has always done. They go with Israel and they steal the resources of the countries. And what do? They take the resources and they do not let the people of that land in on the deal. Saddam had a problem with that. All the people over there had a problem with that. And they started calling them out because that was not a part of the original deal. We'll get that original deal here in a minute. So let's read this here again. The spectator said, look at me, invading dogs. Who are you to judge our president? That's beef. They're like, wait a minute. Oh, how can you judge our president? How can you judge our president? And we ain't even sitting here. We're not trying to judge yours. Seems like everybody's they're in cahoots, doesn't it? Does the Bible talk about that? Of course it does. And we're going to get it. Remember, these TRF news broadcasts are always going to be presented to build a case. All right. So now, afterwards, what did Saddam say? He said, the end is near. The end is near. He said, you know. He said, you'll see. The end is near. What end? What is Saddam talking about? He's talking about the last days. Saddam Hussein was able to tell that all the way back in 2006. He told the world. He raised his voice and told the world everything that was going down. He was speaking of biblical prophecy. Look where we are now. Look where we are now, not even 20 years later. 17 years later. And the world is coming to an end. Let's see what else he said. He said, this homeland is ours. Now, we know that's not true, but he said it. What is he fighting over? He's fighting about the land. Why did he even make the mention to even say that out loud? He wanted everybody to know what it was about. The very same thing that it's about today. What are they fighting over? They're fighting over the land. They're fighting over a place, a territory, a residence that doesn't even belong to them. Who does it belong to? It belongs to us. But that Israeli-Palestinian war and everything that's been going on ever since, 1948? And here we are. They're still fighting over a land that does not belong to them. It's been almost 100 years. And the Most High God of Israel never gave the land to either one of them because it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. It belongs to his Israelites. Now, what else did he say? This is the one that made me laugh. He said, do you consider yourself human? Don't make me laugh. Who did he say that to? Who was he looking at? He was looking at a devil. A devil. A devil. How do we know he was looking at a devil? Can I read this next one right here? Family. Do I have your permission to read this next one? Let's see what he says. I know. The missiles I fired at the Jews disturbed you. Did you become an American dog in the name of humanity? That's the statement that got him killed. He said, I fired a missile at them Jews. Is that why you mad? Is that why you mad? Because I attacked them? Yeah. Yeah. But why did he attack him though? Why did he attack him? Oh, we're about to find out. He said unbelievers will be punished. That man came right out and he said unbelievers will be punished. Where else can we read that? We read that right in the Bible. Then the next part he said, you will all be punished. God will punish you all. Family, please open your Bibles to the book of Psalms, chapter 149. The book of Psalms, chapter 149, family. All of that great information was all over your televisions, all over my television. We heard it and had no idea what he was talking about. How happy are you that the Most High woke you up and that you're able to understand these things? Now, remember, this is all the way back in 2006. I'm going to read all of Psalms 149. Watch this. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and the two-edged sword in their hands, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord, the believers, the believers, the believers, the saints, the believers that will be destroying the nation. Saddam Hussein knew who the Israelites were. I say were because it's past tense for him because they killed him. So what was going on? You know what? Not yet. I'm having fun with this. Oh, not yet. So now that we read all that, the next thing that this man said, what were the words out of his mouth? Dogs of Israel. Family. Saddam Hussein was that dude. Dogs of Israel, you will drown in the blood you shed. Dogs of Israel, you will die in the blood you shed. What was Saddam Hussein saying? Saddam Hussein made it 100% crystal clear. He said, you dog of Israel, you imposter, you invader, you are not the Israelite. Who are you to judge me? Who are you to judge me? You are not the people of the book. You are not an Israelite. You do not have the right to judge me. He said the believers will kill you. Now, I'm going to read that one more time. Dogs of Israel, you will drown in the blood you shed. Family, go to the book of Numbers chapter 35. Family, go to the book of Numbers chapter 35. The book of Numbers chapter 35. Go down to verse 33. Let's see exactly what Saddam Hussein was talking about, because Saddam Hussein was quoting the scriptures. Numbers chapter 35, verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. What was Saddam Hussein talking about? He's talking about the land over there. He was talking about the land. Watch this. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Woo! Let's see what he's talking about now. Defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. And Saddam Hussein made it clear. He said, first and foremost, you are an imposter. You are an invader. This land is not yours. You are not. You invading dog. You Israel. He said, you Israeli dog. You Israeli dog. You are not the people. He said the Negro, the Hispanic, and the Native American are the Israelites. In 2006, all the way back then. And what they do? They killed him. They murdered him. Because remember, family, the greatest kept secret on this planet is your identity. And they took that man's life. So, what else did he say after that? USA dog. They taught you well. He looked right at that Israeli and said, you American dog. So I have to ask a question. Why was an Israeli? Now remember, Saddam Hussein called it out. Why was an Israeli judging him? In that country, horrible. You know who's running the world? It's the Zionists. They're running the world. And I hate to say that term because we know Zion, we know that belongs to us. But the Zionists, they're the ones running the world. And Saddam Hussein's problem was what? Yo, nigga, you taking all the money. Y'all got all the money, all the benefits, and y'all leaving us with nothing. Nothing. Somebody else said that too. We're going to get into it. What's the next thing he said? Irreligious dog. Did the missiles I fire at Israel bother you? So it was only when he said, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to attack Israel. I'm going to go after Israel. I'm going to piss him off now. I'm going to go after Israel. And he did. What'd he do? He did that on purpose to call out what we are seeing today. Saddam Hussein tried to tell us that. He tried to tell the world that all the way back then. He was like, well, y'all gonna kill me, so I might as well just come out. And he had the balls to do it, and he did it. And we're reading it here today. You irreligious dog. Did the missiles I fire at Israel, did that piss you off that bad? Huh? He knew exactly what to do to get them talking. He knew. He knew. That man was smart. What is it all over again, family? I'm going to ask y'all that question one more time. What is it all over again? Here in 2023, the American-Israeli Union. Why do they have such a problem with that? Why? Why do these countries, whenever America and Israel get together, why? Because they are a superpower. They know what time it is. But these other countries also understand this. They know who the people truly are. That's why all these other countries, they back America and Israel. Because the ones that agree with them to keep that secret, that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites, they always break them off. They give them money. And that's what Saddam Hussein's problem was. He's like, yo, I'm tired of y'all. Y'all can't keep all the money. I'm sorry. It's all about the money. Where does the money come from? The money comes from the resources. Where's the resources? The resources is in the land. Where does America keep running to every time they got to re-up on money? They always go right over there to our land. All the oil, all the gold, all the diamonds, all the jewels, everything right there. That's all ours. They all belong to us. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we had the lesson on 9/11. Why did they go ahead and drop the buildings? First and foremost, so that another Zionist, another Israeli can go ahead and get paid. The biggest insurance payday known to man. And all the gold, all the jewels and everything that was under the Twin Towers, everybody knew what was under there. They took it and ran. Nobody knows where it's at now. Yep. Larry Silverstein, a Jewish man. The very same thing Saddam Hussein is talking about. Y'all took everything. Y'all took it all. Y'all left nothing for us. That's what he was saying. And again, that American-Israeli Union. And let me explain something to y'all. Something else that he said. He said, of course, the victory will be the believers and Islam. So that's a conjunction. The believers and Islam. So he's not just talking about Islam. Who are those other believers? You. They killed him for making that statement. Saddam told the world the truth that the Israelis are not the people. He went right ahead and referenced Revelation chapter 2 and 9 and 3 and 9. And they murdered that man because of it. There was also somebody else. There was also another man. Early 1940s. That had the very same problem between the American and Israeli relationship. And this man came out and told everybody, he said, you know what? I don't like this relationship between the American and the Israelis because they are coming up with these concepts where they're making all the money. And many of you already know exactly who I'm talking about, but I'm going to let this go ahead and roll out because I'm doing something. And that man got right on television. He made speeches, speech after speech after speech after speech that America don't have the balls to translate. And he kept making these speeches over and over and over and over about the American-Israeli relationship until one day they decided to kill him and shut him up. Because this man came right out and said, I am sick and tired of these Americans because they're so stupid. They have the jewels of the God of Israel and they're idiots. That man made that statement and then they killed him not much later. That man's name is Adolf Hitler. And then some years later, 1963 to be exact, there was another man that wanted to explore the American space program. And from that American space program, he unfortunately found something out that he shouldn't have known. You see, there was a secret mission that happened in 1962 where this little country that broke off from England called America, in the year 1962, there was this secret operation that many people have talked about where they went to this little place that is inside of the firmament called the moon. And when they got up there, they were petrified and afraid, and they turned and ran. And they came back and they told this man that led this country, and they said, we just came back from up there and we're not going back. And that person was like, well, why not? He said, because when we got up there, there are these really big black people. And they were like, what do you mean, like black figures? No, they're these Negroes that are up there. And the shortest one is about 7 feet. And they have these weapons. They have these weapons that we cannot tell you what they are. We just know they were weapons. We saw what they were able to do and we ran. So they got back and they told this man that, and this man was the president of a country. And he said, well, we just have to tell everybody about this. We cannot keep that a secret. And they said, oh, that's probably not the best idea to do. And he said, well, I really don't care about what your idea is or whatnot. I'm getting ready to tell these people. And so him and his wife was in a car in a convertible in Dallas, Texas, and they blew that man's brains out in front of everybody because he was getting ready to tell that there were black people that was living on the moon, and it would actually identify what the Bible said about an army that's living on the moon, and his name was John F. Kennedy. And then about 5 years later, there was another man in 1968. And this man was very, very charismatic, but he was an atheist. And this man was so charismatic that he was able to talk to people, that he had this really good ability to unify people because his gift of gab was just insane. And from that gift of gab, right, he spoke to the world and he united the people right here in this country called America. And he had an agenda, and that agenda was to soften what black people thought about white people. And he wanted to bring this union between them. And then towards the end of his life in 1967, and that was not the end of his life, but we're talking about something that happened in 1967. He met with all of his friends. One of his friends just happened to be Harry Belafonte. And they were all in a room, and he was very, very perplexed and uneasy. And he was reading this book. It was called the Bible. And as he was reading this book, you know, because he was an atheist, but yet he had a church, because they gave him one, because that was the thing that connected with black people. And so he looked at his friends and he said, I made the biggest mistake that I've ever could have made. I led my people into a burning house. And what Harry Belafonte understood about that when he decided to tell people about that was that Martin Luther King understood from the scriptures that he made a horrible, horrible mistake. A horrible one. He made a horrible mistake by unifying these people, what God told him not to do. And yes, of course, that man's name was Martin Luther King. And when Martin Luther King stood up and gave a speech, and that speech, he said, my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. And they killed him. Because Martin Luther King was getting ready to come out and tell black people that they were the Israelites. And he killed him. In 2006, there was a man that got in front of everybody, and I'm not going to go through that whole spiel. You know exactly who it is. It was Saddam Hussein. There's something that happened between these four men, a common denominator. All four of these men were getting ready to tell the world that black people are the Israelites, and they killed them. Why? Why? Well, for that, we gotta go to the scriptures, don't we? Family, please open your books to the book of Psalms, chapter 83. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, family, because we're going to see exactly what it is. We're going to read all of 83. The book of Psalms, chapter 83. You're going to see why this was so important. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace and be not still. You see, Asaph is talking to the Most High right now. Now, remember, the Most High always told his sons and his daughters, when you come and talk to me, come talk to me bold. When he's talking to his sons, he said, come stand in front of me. Yeah, put your balls on when you talk to me. Be a man. You see, verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. Now, a tumult is an angry gathering. It's a gathering. It's a gathering of the people. A tumult. You see, they have that thing that's called, it's a little something in New York that they have. You know, a little gathering of this building and this organization that's known as the United Nations. The Bible already predicted that. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. So there's a hidden people. There's a people that's actually hidden that nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to know who these people are, you see, because it's very, very secret. Because if they told who these people are, there's going to be turmoil. There's going to be chaos in the world. So there are these people that are hidden that all the other people are like, shh, don't say nothing. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So there are these people who we are going to hide from everybody, from all of the world. We're going to hide these people. We're going to hide them so good that we're going to take these other people and we're going to say that they are the people, but the people who are really the people, we're going to make sure that the world never knows who they are. We got to be very, 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 very secretive about that, because the world can never know. The world can never know who these people are, because if they know who the real children of Israel are, there's going to be turmoil and chaos, and these people are going to get so mad and so pissed off that they're going to get angry. And when they do get angry, their God is going to condone that anger. He's not only going to condone that anger, he is going to turn that anger all the way up. And how is he going to do that? He is going to pour his wrath onto the earth. He is going to take the cups of his wrath and pour it on the earth. And as that wrath is coming down, it is going to rain over the children of Israel. It is going to rain over us. And that cup, that very cup, it is going to invade our bodies. And we're going to have these bodies. That is not an ordinary body. It's not a human body. It is going to be able to soak up that cup of wrath. And then we are going to start killing people. Oh yeah, but not yet though. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They have consulted together with one consent. They have consulted together. So all of these people got together and said, you know what? These blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, yeah, they're not even human beings. They're gods. And we have to make sure that we destroy these people. We have to make certain that they never find out who they are. So what we're going to do, we're going to browbeat these people. We're going to tell them that they are the worst scum of the earth. We are going to break them down. We are going to ruin their lives. First and foremost, we're going to put them in the worst places ever. We're going to put them in ghettos and barrios and reservations. And then we're going to give them bad water. Not only are we going to give them bad water, we're going to give them the worst of foods. We're going to give them the worst of educations. We're going to give them the worst of everything that this world has to offer so that they will never flourish. We're going to make sure that these people never find out who they are, because they are so low to the ground, and we are going to make sure that we keep it that way, and we are going to make sure that they remain in those conditions through one thing. It's called oppression, and we're going to make that happen. And they did make that happen, and they continue to make that happen, and it's still happening today. And we are under that spell. But, oh baby, no more, because there are many of us that are waking up now. That was Saddam Hussein's crime. Saddam Hussein's crime was that he told. It got out. He told. He had no care in the world either, because he had nothing to lose. He said, y'all are going to kill me. I'm telling. And he did. But family, it's not about that they killed him. I need y'all to understand something. It's not that they killed him. It's how.
His headquarters at Casimir. Saddam, as we said, dressed in this raincoat, black suit, with his feet and hands tied, being taken from the execution room to the gallows. He is now being told that he can have the hood, but he refused that. He went to the rope, seeing that noose before him, and he was then given this scarf to be tied around his neck, for the rope to be tied around that, and an indication that he faced his final moments with some bravery, shouting, God is great, and that the nation would live on, and that Palestine was Arab. Final words of defiance. Tim Marshall, our Foreign Affairs editor, is with us. Tim, as we see these pictures, the other elements, of course, are the rusty old railings, the unpainted concrete, the sort of scene of a common criminal almost meeting his final moments rather than the former head of state?
Well, he was both, wasn't he?
That bothered me so much, family. You know why? Because they took Saddam Hussein and they said, okay, you want to stand up for a nigga? We're going to kill you like one. And they hanged that man. And they hanged that man. Not only did they hang that man, but they also did something else.
إذا أنا اليوم أروح يم التمثال يعني أتألم وأنقهر، أقول ليش أنا يعني سقطت هذا الصنم، أعيد الصنم احتمال يعني أصنعه وأعيده لو مخوفا دول يقتلوني أرجع. أنا أكثر من عائلتي يعني أكثر من 14 15 شخص معدوم. كنت فرحان بشكل يعني دخلوا الأمريكان وخلصونا من نظام صدام البائد. سمعت بأن الأمريكان دخلوا ضواحي بغداد، ففرحت وأخذت المطرقة هو الهمر شاكوت وطلعت بالسيارة. بديت أضرب بالصنم لأن أمنيتي هي أسقط الصنم. قبل ما انسقط صعد احد الجنود من شرق اسيا خلى العلم الامريكي على وجه التمثال، فانا مقبلي حطيته علم عراقي. حقيقه سنه عن سنه للاسوء، وبعدين كشفنا ذول الحراميه والاحزاب والقتل والنهب والسلب. قتل صدام بس يعني ما شفنا من مثل هاي الحكومه. راح صدام وجانا 1000 صدام. أحس كأنما إحنا العراق مأخذ من عندنا وبغداد يعني بصورة عامة، هم كانوا يدعون بها سقوط بغداد، وهاي الكلمة يعني تأثر من عندها هاي. لا شيء أكيد كذابين، أي كذابين لأنه هم دمروا العراق ذول الاثنين، بلير وبوش. هم رجعونا للصفر، يمكن أقول لك رجعنا للقرون الوسطى وأكثر. أنا لو مجرم يعني أقتلهم بداية.
Not only did they hang the man, but they also put a noose around that man's statue. Family. Even after the man's death, they said, we're going to do it again. They said, we're going to do it again. They said, he is an absolute disgrace. That was a message to the rest of the world. I need y'all to understand why they killed him the way that they did. That was a message to everybody else. They said, if any one of you come out again with this, we're going to treat you just like that. Did anybody else do it? No. From 2006 to 2023, an event started happening where our people started picking up the Bible. And the Father said in the last days that he was going to begin to bring the remembrance of our people. The Bible is real. Because that's exactly what happened. And now you have brothers like myself and everyone else in Israel that's bringing out this truth. And it can't be denied. It can't be. Saddam Hussein was the person that spilled the beans. And they were never able to recover. Never. And if you go back to 2006 and you start looking at all of the natural disasters and everything like that, Saddam Hussein pulled the lid off of everything. And they made sure that that man paid for it. And I'm about to show y'all an image. It is the most disgusting image that I've ever seen. Y'all see this? Y'all see who they made do that? Yeah, a black man. A black man. That picture enrages me. It does. Because that man came out, Saddam Hussein, that man came out and told the world what it was. And I don't have any empathy or sympathy for Saddam Hussein. He is who he is. I do not condone what that man has done to his people. But we cannot deny the fact of what he did in the end. And they hung him, or hanged him, however you want to say it. And then had the audacity to show a black man with a noose around his neck. America has no shame whatsoever. They are disgusting. Just disgusting dogs. They did that to us, and then they had a black man put a noose around his neck. So, family, we're going to end this right now. And we're going to end this on what a man had to say in regards to Saddam Hussein after he was dead. And I'm going to ask you a question as we sign off. Ask yourself this question. Do you agree with what Gaddafi is saying?
شو سبب تدمير العراق وغزو العراق وقتل مليون عراقي؟ وخلاص لقانا الامريكان يجاوبونا على السؤال اللي حاير. لماذا العراق؟ شو سبب؟ بن لادن عراقي؟ ما هو عراقي. اللي ضربوا نيويورك عراقيين؟ ما هم عراقيين. اللي ضربوا البنتاغون عراقيين؟ ما هم عراقيين. في أسلحة دمار شامل عند العراق؟ ما عندها. وحتى لو عند العراق أسلحة دمار شامل، أو باكستان عندها قنبلة ذرية، والهند عندها قنبلة ذرية، والصين وروسيا وبريطانيا وفرنسا وأمريكا، ما كله عنده قنابل ذرية. كله بيدمروها. كويس؟ فندمر كل الدول اللي عندها أسلحة دمار شامل. يجي قوة أجنبية تحتل دولة عربية وتشنق رئيسها، وإحنا نتفرج عليهم ونضحك. وليش ما نحقوا في شنق صدام حسين؟ كيف يصير حرب يشنق ورئيس دولة عربية عضو في الجامعة العربية؟ لما تكلموا عن سياسة صدام حسين والخلافة معاه السياسي، ممكن كلنا مختلفين سياسيين معاه، مختلفين حتى مع بعضنا نحن الآن. ما في حاجة تجمعنا أبدا إلا القاعة يعني. ليش ما يكون فيها تحقيق في مقتل صدام حسين؟ قيادة عربية بالكامل تقتل تشنق في المشانق، ما نتفرج. لماذا؟ وممكن الدور جاي عليكم كلكم. نعم. ليش أمريكا قاتلت مع صدام حسين ضد الخميني؟ كان صديقها. تشيني كان صديق لصدام حسين. رامسفيلدي كان وزير دفاع الأمريكا لما كان يدمروا في العراق، صديق حميم لصدام حسين. واخيرا باعوه وشنقوه. حتى انتم اصدقاء امريكا، نحن اصدقاء امريكا، بلاش نقول انتم، نحن اصدقاء امريكا كلنا. قد توافق امريكا على شنقنا في يوم ما. الاخ عمر موسى عنده فكره متحمس له برنامج ذكره حتى الان، او ذكره في تقريره، ان العرب من حقهم ان يستخدموا الذره للاغراض السلميه، ويجب يكون في برنامج عربي نووي. هذا من حقهم. من حقهم حتى البرنامج النووي غير ذلك. لكن الله غالب. احنا شو للاسف الشديد احنا اعداء لبعضنا. احنا شو كلنا نكره بعضنا ونتخاصم مع بعضنا ونكيد لبعضنا ونشمت في بعضنا ونتآمر على بعضنا. احنا مخابراتنا تآمر على بعضنا، ما تحمي فينا من العدو. احنا عدو لبعضنا، وعدو العربي صديق للعربي الآخر. العرب العلاقة بين ليبيا وإيطاليا أفضل 1000 مرة من العلاقة بين ليبيا ومصر ولا تونس وجيراننا.